Hello, and welcome to Women in Business, where we interview entrepreneurs and senior managers and show you the strengths, successes, obstacles, and roadblocks women experience in business. Since I believe every person in business needs to be visible, I'd like to invite you to watch www.sob6, that's the number 6, tips.com, which will give you some valuable information should you get the call to be on radio or TV, which I think is extremely important. If you'd like to contact me personally, drop me a line at Gail Carson, that's Gayle, Gail Carson 13 at gmail.com, or go to my website, www.spunkyoldbroad.com, and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Hi, everyone. My guest today is Anna Scheller, and Anna is a radio show host, a speaker, an author, and a small business owner. She studied sales because she was afraid of face-to-face selling, but needed to find new markets for her corporate housing business. Within that first year, she grew by over 50% in the first year. She's also, and I love this, a black belt in Taekwondo, and she applies the disciplines and traits she learned to become a black belt in the martial arts to empower clients to become more confident and master the sales processes. She's the author of the book, Black Belt Selling, Closing with Confidence, and she co-hosts the podcast Black Belt Selling with her daughter, Stephanie, and has her own radio show, Sales Mastery, on the amazing Women of Power radio station. She is the mother of 7 children and is married to her college sweetheart, Philip, and they live in Del Rio, Texas. Welcome, Anna.
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, I'll tell you, I have so many questions just from your bio, but there's other questions I want people to listen to because this is a Women in Business show. But first of all, being the mother of 7 children and having your own business, that's an accomplishment. Staying married to your college sweetheart is an accomplishment. Being a master of Taekwondo is something. So where do we start with you, Anna? I mean, so many things to ask you about. So let's find out when you got started in business and why you got started in business.
Well, you mentioned all of those wonderful accomplishments, not the least of which are the personal accomplishments of 7 children and a college sweetheart. We actually just celebrated our 36th wedding anniversary this month. So yeah, that was quite an accomplishment there. And actually, it's my family that drove me to go into business because with the changing economy, let's face it, there's really no security in jobs like there used to be. My husband was military, and we were looking at how his retirement was being eroded in various ways. And let's face it, when you have a large family and you're looking at putting 7 children through college, you need a little bit more than just a military retirement to get the job done. So I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and to be honest, I liked the idea of being able to create my own income. And even though the businesses that I co-own with my husband, I am the primary. I tell people I'm the CEO, the COO, the CFO, the C whatever O
Chief
you
cook and
need.
bottle washer, right?
And there you go. There you go. So it was my family that's been my inspiration for business.
And yet, Anna, there are women who would say, gosh, with 7 kids, how on earth would you find time to run a business? Because, let's face it, 7, of course, one good thing about a large family is one child takes care of another child. But again, still, that's a big responsibility. So why did you choose to learn about sales?
Well, even though I raised 7 children, and I'm grateful that they don't come in litters, it would have been impossible. um, but what ended up happening was we had a change in the market in our real estate business. So it was primarily, we were getting our corporate housing clients through the internet. Well, with changes in government, and our government was our primary customer, with the change in government that happened when the Obama administration took over, there was a significant change in the number of people who were taking advantage of the housing business that I own. And so I had to start looking for other ways to create income. So what did I do? I go into network marketing, and there I discover that I have to actually talk face to face with people. I can't do all of this over the internet. And to be honest, I was scared spitless. I just had a hard, I mean, I did everything wrong, and I'll share more about that later, but I did everything wrong when it came to sales. And my upline coach at the time, her name is Dina Morton, and Dina and I are still good friends. Dina said, Anna, you should study sales. And I go, why should I study sales? And she says, because you're bad at it. And so
Well, that's being blunt, and that's good. We need to hear those things.
we do. And so it started by me reading a book, and then somebody sent me a a free webinar type thing. And of course, when I saw that I could actually learn how to sell, I was so excited, and I started to just implement. I got a mentor, and I started implementing everything he said. And by doing that, I was able to grow just my corporate housing business 50% that first year after I learned how to sell. It was amazing.
So, do you think not knowing how to sell was your biggest mistake, or were there other mistakes that you had when it came to selling?
Well, a lot of people thought I was really good at selling because I talked a lot. And that actually is a liability when it comes to sales. So again, Dina would sit me down and she'd say, Anna, you're not giving people a chance to share with you what their needs are. But I think I was so fearful of hearing what they actually had to say that I would just talk, 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 talk. Wouldn't make a sale, but I did a lot of talking.
I love that.
Oh, and I actually had to learn to shut up.
Well, but that's good because that's what we know, that when people talk a lot and we listen, they feel connected to us and they think that we are great conversationalists, but we haven't said a word. We just listened well. So that does make a significant impact. And it's interesting that with 7 kids, you were not a good listener because I'm sure they were jabbering at you all the time.
Well, yeah, they did. And the one thing that raising a large family did for me is it helped me to learn how to deal with various personalities, because there's no two of my 7 that are exactly alike. And um and actually it was my sales, it was learning sales that helped me to be a better listener to the kids, know when to interject when I needed to instead of letting them rant. It actually improved my marriage too. And I thought I had a pretty good marriage up to then, but when I started agreeing with my husband when he raised an objection, he was like, "Oh my gosh, wow, what's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Nothing. I'm a salesperson."
Very, very good. Well, so what kind of network marketing did you go into?
It was a health product. It was a vitamin product kind of thing, and it was a good product. Unfortunately, in all of those periods of time, I think it was the FTC, FCC, somebody started to really crack down on some of the methods that were being used to recruit people.
Right.
And, at that time I thought, well, it's okay. But I put my focus back on helping people learn how to sell, and also on my corporate housing business. And so I did step away from it. I think the products are great. And I think that a lot of network marketing has cleaned up their act so that it is a safe industry again. But it does take time. It's like
It
any
does
other
take time.
business.
It does. So, how do you think being a woman has helped you in business and sales?
Oh, I love that question because I think women are especially equipped to be very good at sales. One, because there has to be a level of intuition that you're operating with in order to be effective in sales. It's a conversation and it's a relationship that you're building with your customer or your prospective customer. And I think women, it's easier for them to catch clues that are maybe more subtle and are probably more inquisitive in terms of asking questions, which is a huge key to sales. And of course, sales is all about relationships, Dr. Gale. I mean, you and I both know that. You you don't want the one and done deal. You want a relationship with somebody that you're both going to enjoy. They're going to turn to you for help. You're going to be able to help them, and you're both going to be able to benefit from the relationship. So I think women are just naturally equipped and well suited for sales. And there are some statistics out that say that when it comes to the long-term sales, women do tend to do better in that arena because of the relationship building and the intuition.
Well, it is true. I mean, women have an easier time of connecting, and they're much more intuitive and in tune with the people that they're dealing with.
Hmm.
So what do you think are some of the biggest mistakes then that people make when making sales? One of them you told us was not listening, talking too much, but there's
Right.
a lot more, I'm assuming.
Oh, there are. And I can really talk a lot about myself because I've made a lot of these classic mistakes, if not all of them. One of them is that I think we try to rush the sale. So, you know, I'm sure you've been to one of these, Dr. Gale, where you've shown up at a networking event and you saw that person make a beeline for you out of the corner of your eye, and you almost wanted to cringe because what they did is they walked up to you, they told you all about themselves and told you all about their product, and then tried to get an appointment with you. And so, I think people tend to rush it. They try to do too much too fast, and they don't follow a process to lead their customer into a decision. And that's a really important key. It can be a quick process, but it needs to be a process nonetheless. And I also think we don't ask for the order enough. I mean, we'll build relationships and then we're like, "Oh, okay, well, let me know when you're ready." We
Well, that's true, and it's like uh, when you go somewhere. Well, to me, it's almost I see this happening now on LinkedIn. I will connect with somebody because I think they are an interesting person, and they seem to be very good at what they do. And then the message I get back is this is what we do, and would you like to set up an appointment, and would you like to set up an interview, or would you like to set up a strategy session? And I just connected with them. So I
Mm.
think it's happening online now a lot as well. So what would you say that there are the three keys would be if someone wanted to have a successful sales career? What are the three keys you would tell them?
Well, first of all, the first key I would say is be willing to invest in yourself. There's a whole lot about self-development, and I hear this often, and I believe it is just so true. You can only grow your income as you grow yourself. And of course, many people get into sales because they want to grow their income. But sales has a tendency to bring out the very best and the very worst in us when it comes to business. And so we need to be focused on bettering ourselves. So, and you have to invest. You have to invest in yourself. Get a mentor, take courses, go to seminars. They're so important. The second thing, and I mentioned it earlier, is you have to create a process in order to lead people through sales. The reason that's important is because if I know what I'm doing at a certain point in the conversation, it's easier for me to lead the customer into the next step to begin to make that decision. So just like you don't go out on a date with somebody and you marry them the next day, there's a process that you go through. Once you get their name, then you want to establish a time to meet. And then you want to begin to build rapport with these people. Like when the people are contacting you over LinkedIn, they're not building any rapport. They're not trying to get to know you at all to see if there even might be an interest or a good fit to even approach you with a strategy session. you know there's a process that you lead people through to get them ready to make a decision. And then finally, and this is probably one of the most important keys, is you need to get out and you need to meet people and you need to stay in touch with them. Grow your database, go to networking events, get busy on social media, find ways to meet more people, learn about more people so that you have more people to talk to, so that you have the opportunity to create a larger customer base.
So like any other thing, you need a system. And
Yes.
when you have a system that's repeatable over and over and over and over again, uh, you find something that allows you to be successful. And rather than just winging it and kind of going and saying, well,
Hmm.
I can respond to what people say. If you have a system, it seems to get you where you want to go. And so that's very important because a lot of people just think, I'm a great salesperson or I'm not a great
Yeah.
salesperson, but it does. It's a system. So that's wonderful. But now I want to talk about this black belt that you've got. I at first I thought, well, that would be really nice to use on 7 kids, but how has that helped you in your business?
Well, I did get into martial arts to be with my kids. They were all interested in it. And so this particular school had a family program. And um, and I actually had no intention of becoming a black belt, but I enjoyed the sport and I was approached to be a black belt. Now, one of the things that being a black belt has taught me, and this is really, I think, a critical key to any kind of business and sales, is that it taught me how to cultivate mindfulness. So when we're doing our different techniques or forms or katas or whatever people are familiar with, when we try to race ahead in our mind to the next thing, or we're thinking about something else, in general, well, not in general, you just don't perform as well. You're not as in tune to what's going on. And if you're sparring, you tend to get hurt. So it helped me to realize that in my own business, I have to focus on what's at hand. What am I doing right now that needs my full attention so that I can accomplish the goals I have? Another thing is it taught me, I mean, you would think after 7 kids I would have discipline, but there was a, I know, right? Uh, but there's a level of discipline where I actually had this goal. I had 4 months to prepare for my black belt, and I never worked so hard in my life. But I got to the point where I realized I had already become a black belt. So in business, we have to already see ourselves as having achieved what we want to achieve. That was a huge turning point for me. And so now in business, I see that the discipline isn't there to punish me. The discipline is there to help me achieve what I already know I have. I just need to make it happen.
That's interesting, because you think that certain things come naturally, or you think that when you've studied a lot about a lot of different things that it makes it easier. But, there is a process, and sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it's not going to work. So if you could give our listeners one key piece of advice about sales out of everything that you've learned, all the places you've gone to study, all the things that you've had in your experience, what would it be?
I think that the key to being great is to finding a mentor, to finding a good mentor, somebody who has gone where you want to go and can help you navigate the pitfalls. Maybe will hold you accountable, because there's nothing, I don't believe I would have achieved the level of success I have now if it wasn't for the mentors in my life. And I have mentors for different areas of my life. So I just think mentorship is very important for success in business and in sales.
That's fabulous. Yeah, I think, mentors, people don't know how to use a mentor, because a mentor is not there for you to go to them every single day of the week. A mentor is there as an overall picture to kind of guide you through the different phases you're going through. And finding a mentor is very important, and finding the right mentor is even more important. So that I like that. That's very good. Now, you run a Twitter chat, and that, of course, has me fascinated, because I do not run a Twitter chat, and I should run a Twitter chat. So I want to find out more about that. What do you do? Why do you do it? How do you do it? Tell us about that.
Well, the name of the Twitter chat is USA Biz Party, and we run the chat every Tuesday. And the purpose of the chat, there's two purposes really to the chat. One is to get like-minded people across the country who want to exchange ideas and who want to build a network. My ultimate goal is to create live events where people who are engaged in this Twitter chat can come and actually meet each other, like we met each other at the New Media Summit, um, and really just exchange ideas, maybe build relationships and possible joint ventures together. The other side of it is we bring in every week a guest expert. So this is a person who has expertise they're willing to share with our participants. And so my goal there is to help that person gain exposure to a network of people who are serious about growing their businesses, and also give them a platform to share ideas that have made a difference in their business. Or if they have a book, I like to invite book authors who have relevant material so that people can maybe get their book and have additional resources in order to be able to grow their businesses. So my plan is twofold: helping the people in the network itself to learn, to grow, to get new people that they're working with, but also to help our guests get exposure and help them to find people that they may be able to help and who are looking for what they have to offer. So I love it. It's great.
I didn't, so this is different than just doing tweets. This is actually having a group that meets on a continual basis.
Exactly. Exactly. So if people are interested, on Tuesdays, we use hashtags so that people can follow, but Tuesdays at noon Central Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Time, that's when we meet. We usually chat amongst each other. A lot of times questions just spring up out of the conversation, but it is a guided chat, so we do have questions that we ask to keep people focused on the topic at hand.
That's fantastic. Well, now, why don't you tell us how people can get in touch with you? Tell us a little bit about one or two of your favorite resource links, and how you would like people to reach you.
All right. Well, a great place to find me, of course, is my website, annascheller.com.
And
And
that's
there,
spelled Scheller.
yes, and with two N's. I live in a Hispanic area, so a lot of people assume that it's with one N, but it's ANNASCHELLER. That's correct. Um, a great place, of course, to meet with me is on Twitter. So you can find me at Scheller Anna. So my last name, then my first name. And I would love for you guys to just join us on the chat. It is so much fun. I've met some really interesting people, and I love working with our guests. And one of my favorite resources, Dr. Gale, is a book called High Profit Prospecting by Mark Hunter. I think it's a critical book for sales success, and this guy covers everything from phone calls to mindset to emails. It's to me, it's my prospecting Bible, and I would like to get a copy of that into everybody's hand if I possibly can, and that can be found on Amazon.
Repeat that one more time.
High Profit Prospecting by Mark Hunter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great book. And a great overall sales book is The Art of Sales. The Art of Mastering Sales, excuse me, by Tom Hopkins.
That's an oldie
it's a
goldie.
classic.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's a classic. It's a classic. So we've had Tom and Mark on our show too. So that means that, Dr. Gail, we need to get you on my show.
Well, I would be happy to do that. That would be wonderful. But again, I want to let people know we need to have you go to Anna, that's two N's, ANNA, Scheller, SCHELLER.com. That's her website. So you can see what she's all about, see some of the resources that she offers, and, follow her on Twitter. Go to her Twitter chat and see what that's all about. And I think that's fabulous. I think that's great. So I think that this has been just an amazing interview, Anna. I think that, well, first of all, I love the fact that you've shown people how to be successful with a large family. That's number one. Number two, that you not only took your kids to Taekwondo, but you also became a black belt. And that means that you have the discipline and the persistence to accomplish something like that. And then the fact that you're so open to other advice and going to webinars and seminars and reading books and experiencing all of this, you're never going to be dull, you're never going to grow old, and you're always going to be at the top of your game. So I think that's wonderful, and I'm really, really happy we've had a chance to chat today. So I want to thank you so much for being with us.
Well, thank you for having me, Dr. Gail. It's been a real delight.
Thanks for listening to Women in Business. I hope you enjoyed today's show. And if you have any suggestions as to who you'd like me to have as a guest, just email me at gailcarson13@gmail.com. Be sure to check out www.sob6tips.com. And in the meantime, go to www.spunkyoldbroad.com to see the resources I have for you.